Okay, Patrick, only one place we can start this Monday, and that's Salvator Mundi, who seems to have divided opinion with his Punchestown success. That was in the Sky Bet Moscow Flyer novice hurdle. Firstly, given that reputation, I suppose, at home, just how big was the sense of relief that he actually won the race on Sunday?
Yeah, because look, to be honest, after a half mile, I said to myself that this horse can't win. He was running too keenly, and because Paul was trying to settle him and they were going slow, he couldn't let him jump. Because if he'd let him jump, he'd have made ground in the air, landed running, and ran even keener, and maybe ended up in front, and had the other horses pushing him on. So, yeah, I think there's no doubt the engine is there, the ability is there, but his racing, his efficiency in racing is still needs a bit of tweaking. I mean, when he won in Tipperary, which was obviously a very controversial race, but you can see why it happened now. He just, if you let him onto the front, he rocks and rolls, and he's going to have to learn how to be more professional in his racing in order to maximize his potential.
Just on the Tipperary run, I mean, I didn't see too many mistakes that day, and you go back and watch the Triumph hurdle, and he actually jumped quite well round Cheltenham. In general, is his jumping much better than that we saw on Sunday at home?
Yeah, like I said, we're not worried that he's going to jump
No.
poorly. I mean, it was a slowly run race, and Paul was using the jumps to try get him back, get him off the bridle, get him to take a breath. So he wasn't allowing him to jump. Because if he did allow him to jump, he'd have made ground and ran keener. So yeah, we're happy that in a stronger run race, he'd settle better. I mean, he's ran around Artoy, he's run around Cheltenham. His jumping is fine. Yeah.
And I suppose you could, in a Sky Bet Supreme, which does seem to be the target for him, front running tactics have never been a massive issue in that race, has it? It's a sharp course around the old course at Cheltenham there. You could almost recommend, would you recommend just going on with him, letting him race?
Well, it'd be a decision for Paul, but he'd be a different type of horse than we've done it with before. He wears the hood, he wears a tongue strap. I'm not sure the type of horse that would maybe settle in front. It's a great place to make the running if you can jump the first hurdle and prick your ears and race with a loop in the rain. But if you jump the first hurdle and rock down over the next two, it's a long run to the second flight. You could have your race finished by the time you pass the stands. So I'm not convinced he's a horse to do that with. But Paul might think differently. We'll see.
Yeah, I suppose it's that keenness, isn't it? I mean, Ruby Walsh mentioned it on Racing TV before the race. He did seem to sort of be expending quite a lot of energy prior to the race on Sunday. Is that kind of thing, is that a big concern at Cheltenham?
Yeah, well, look, he obviously went there last year, which is great. The fact that he has that under his belt, he's seen the place. And he raced keenly last year, but Brian, he was very rideable. But yeah, I think a strong run race, I think he'd settle much better. You don't always get that in the sprint, obviously. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But he wears the hood, he wears a tongue strap. He's not straightforward. So like I said, the ability is no doubt there, but just getting it out in the most efficient manner is going to be the challenge. But look, Paul Townend riding out of his skin, and I'm sure he'll be well able to devise a plan with him.
Just out of interest, which one needs the more schooling, intensive schooling sessions, I suppose? This guy or your Leopardstown maiden hurdle winner, Kopek de Board?
Well, look, I don't think we'll do a huge amount of schooling with Salvator Mundi. I think he's well able to jump. Kopek will school again, but I'm not convinced with him. It wasn't that he schooled very well at home. I think there was just something niggling, and whether it was a confidence thing or whether he gave himself a knock at the first or second hurdle, I don't know. But again, I'm not massively concerned about his jumping. I think I'll see a different horse next day. Yeah.
And for those punters then who might have taken the early 16-1 or the 5-1, or may even be considering backing him for the Sky Bet Supreme at 7-2 this morning, is your faith undiminished?
In Salvator Mundi, definitely. I mean, I thought when he jumped the second last and Paul got down and gave him a squeeze, said, "Oh no, it says here the whole thing's gone up in smoke." And I thought the way he just came on back on the bridle and just ran by them, ran by them like they were standing still, off a slow run race. And it's not easy to do that in Punchestown. It's a front running track at times. I just thought it was a huge performance, and we're very happy coming out of the race. Put it that way.
Okay, on to a couple of the novice chase winners from the weekend then. We'll stick with Punchestown. Lecky Watson. Paul said afterwards he can have a look at a fence and he can have a bit of a think in general, but is that just him?
Yeah, look, he's always been a horse. He used to be if you drop him in, he can be keen and numb. And then in front, he can look around a lot. But I think fences are making him concentrate a lot more, making him a much easier ride. I think we'll be able to step him out and trip because of that. And I can't wait to see him when he goes up to about 3 miles. I think that'll see him at his best. He is going to have to sharpen up. Every time Paul asked him, he jumped. He came and jumped very fluently. But when Paul left him alone and he got into the bottom of the fences, he wasn't making a great shape. So he's going to have to sharpen up his jumping in that regard. Um, but again, there's huge ability there. He just needs to get a little bit more professional in his racing. Yeah, in the exact opposite end of the spectrum of Salvator Mundi.
With that in mind, then, is he likely to have a run in February? I know he's in that 2 mile 5 race at the DRF, but it's pretty well stacked, that race, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure what Willie has in mind from just yet, but I imagine if we could get another run, that'd be great. But we've sent horses to Cheltenham off the back of 2 runs before, and if there's nothing, if something doesn't suit, he doesn't have to run. But another run would be nice. But
so it'd be Brown Advisory straight to there.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, I imagine the Brown Advisory could be planned. Now he could also wait and go to Fairyhouse for the Willow Warm Gold Cup. I mean, that could be a possibility as well. So he's got options. Willie's away at the moment, so there hasn't been any plans devised just yet. Not that if he was here, there'd be any plans made anyway. So yeah.
Very fair. Rolling back to Saturday, Mr. Giff, he won under JJ Slevin at Fairyhouse, beating Tully Hill. The jockey's first winner for Willie by all accounts, and I think did you have the 1, the 2, the 3, and the 4th as well?
Yeah, it was a great result. JJ gave the horse a great ride, and look, obviously Westport Cove got keen, went on, and Paul had to follow him on Tully Hill, and Tom had to follow him. JJ was riding his horse to run well, having his first run of the season, his first run of fences, and gave him a lovely ride. And I'm not so sure the race fell into his lap. I think I wouldn't be hugely surprised if Mr. Giff is the best of these at the end of the season anyway. I thought I kind of fancied him in the Three Novices last year, and he ran a little bit below par. I know he finished behind the other two, but
he's a young horse still, isn't he?
He is, and he's got a lot of speed, and he jumps very well. And I just wouldn't be surprised if, I know a lot of people are thinking the race fell apart, but he just might be the best horse in the race anyway.
Yeah, you say he's got speed. This was just fractionally beyond 2 miles, but he does look like he might stay further as well in time.
Yeah, look, look, I'm sure he get 2.5, no problem. But the way he jumps and the turn of foot he has, I imagine we'll be staying lower rather than higher distance anyway.
Okay, good stuff. Well, we're in for another really busy week this week. Good luck wherever you may pop up yourself riding. Just looking ahead to the weekend, potentially we could see Energumen, could we? Is he on track for Ascot?
Yeah, Energumen came out of the Hilly Way great. Obviously, the form got a nice boost. He's obviously going to come on a lot from that. That was his first run in a long time. He's in full work. I think the plan is to go there. Third time lucky. He hasn't been a particularly lucky horse there. He had that great clash with Shiskin, and then he disappointed there when he was at Cheltenham, which I think was his first time over the white fences, and maybe he had a little bit of a look at them. But the race fits nicely in his program, so I imagine all being well, that's where he'll turn up. And look, he's 11 now. It's going to be very hard. He's not in his prime. John Bon is. It'll be difficult, but we'll give it a go.
Yeah, and you'd be hoping for a bit of rain for Energumen in that respect. It's looking like a potentially sort of cool and dry, clear week.
Yeah, I think, look, Energumen, like Gaelic Warrior, the softer the better for him. But he has form and good ground as well. But definitely, the more rain, the better. But we'll see.
Yeah, what a race that could be. Fingers crossed we see him and John Bon clash in the Clarence House Chase. Thanks again, Patrick. Catch up with you very soon.
Okay. Thanks so much, Matt.